What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Just want to do a bit of a strategy video. I haven't done a video talking just about the meta in quite a bit. So I'm going to call this video the 3 T's. The 3 T's being Tour Guide, Tengu, and Thunder King. I also wanted to shoot this video with Tour Guide before I ship this baby off. I mean, hey, I had to get those Maxis, Thunder Kings, and Tengus for my TG deck, so I had to get them somehow. Anyways, I'm basically going to talk about these cards, the pros and cons. I mean, they, for the most part, don't have cons, and why you're basically seeing these 3 cards being used practically in everything, and basically just their effect on the meta. I believe that part of the reason why people say that the game can be a bit stale is because you're kind of seeing these 3 cards in everything. I mean, if you're at a regional or YCS and you're at the top tables, you will not see fields without these cards either in graveyards or on the field or something like that. So we'll start with Tour Guide. Tour Guide is basically the offensive juggernaut of basically, I guess, these triplets right here. You guys know that it's primarily played because of Sangan. That's not the only reason why you play it. You play it in rogue decks like Dark World and Infernities because it can search respective cards in those decks, which, you know, let you explode more. Obviously being like Brow and Necromancer and so on and so forth. But the most common play you'll see is Tour Guide Sangan. This is not just used in plants, but even in things like agents. You're also going to be seeing Tour Guide because it's a 1-card XC. You can get the wind up. You can make Levier if you have combos with that. The wind up for defense or Leviathan for offense. And then it combos really nice with Enemy Controller, a card that is seeing a ton of play right now. So if for some reason your opponent leaves like a tuner on the field, you know, summon Tour Guide, summon Sangan, Econ, still their tuner, tribute your Sangan, get your search, and then take their monster or take their level 3 monster, and then you can exceed, get your Sangan search. Another reason why people like this is because it lets you pull Sangan from your deck, which can generally speaking get you your hand traps, cards like Maxi, Effect Veiler. If you're running agents, it can get you like Honest. So I mean, Tour Guide is just, it's an all-around amazing card. It's dark, obviously, which, you know, like not like we need any more fucking dark support, which lets you drop BLS. I mean, pretty much anything that isn't anti-meta can find some way to mix in Tour Guides, just because it's such an easy card to summon and to drop. And then, I mean, most decks are playing some variation of these guys right here. Second card would be Reborn Tengu. We've known about how good this card was since it first came out. Not really like Tour Guide where it got better in time. Tengu was just flat out amazing, basically since it was released. First thing that you notice, I've got, you know, a good variety of defensive traps, Deep Prison, Bottomless, Torrential Tribute. One of the biggest reasons why Tengu is played so much as an offensive and defensive weapon, and why Tengu is used in control decks and aggro decks, is because it provides field presence probably unlike any card in Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, because it can take these defensive traps, it can eat them, and then just special summon another copy of itself. So that means that, generally speaking, if your opponent just can't run over it, they've got to waste a lot of resources trying to get rid of Tengu, or basically just die to regular 1700 Tengu attacks. One of the things that I really love about Tengu is the fact that, you know, you can use it in decks like Plants or Fabled, where you want to, you know, do things like 1-for-1 and synchro spam. Or you can use it, you know, as I used it in a deck like TG, a pure control deck, where it just so happens that something like this, Horn of the Phantom Beast, happens to work with Tengu, where you can attack, and if your opponent tries to stop that attack with Deep Prison or Mirror Force, you get another one, and then you can just flip Horn with your second one. So it's kind of unavoidable, you know, to be able to get something like this off, and then you're sitting with a 2500 Tengu who's letting you draw cards, but even when it dies, you get another one. And then Thunder King, the oldest of the triplets, and a card that, looking, well, I mean, Thunder King is probably the easiest to fit in just about any competitive deck, because when you look at decks like complete anti-meta decks like Stun or Gladiator Beast, decks that can't play Tour Guide and Tengu, I mean, they've always found ways to be able to splash this guy in. Every time I talk with GB, I always play Thunder King. The reason why Thunder King is so good right now, especially with Royal Oppression being banned, it's basically a pseudo Solemn Warning, where it stands on the field alone, and it can negate synchro summons, it can negate exceeds, it can negate boss monsters. I have those down below, whether it's, boss monsters like BLS or Stardust, Synchros. It just basically eats up your opponent's summons. I mean, people are starting to play Cyber Dragon now as an answer, but still, you're gonna get a one for one. You're gonna get a one for one out of that. So it's not like they're dominating you or anything like that. That's why Thunder King is starting to be one of the most commonly played openers or commonly played opening monsters in the game. And then you also have the nice side effect where it can actually shut down in random situations cards that your opponent might need to win. Things like Pop Duality, where they can't add cards without drawing them, or searches like, TGs, Dark Souls, Sangan, so it can wreck up tour guide plays. And, Thunder King is just, he's the defensive juggernaut, I guess, out of this triplet because, he can negate summons, he can shut down, good spells, and he can negate searches. So, I think that right now to really be effective in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean, you've got to be playing some of these. Whether you look at decks like Dark World and Infernity that play Tour Guide, decks like TGs that play Tengu or Thunder King, or even something like GB that just plays Thunder King, or a deck like Plants that plays all of them, Agents that just play Tour Guide, Rabbits that play Tour Guides and Thunder King. Some variation of these three cards you have to be playing right now, unless you're just playing something completely off the wall like Chamber. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you think that this format is too dependent on these three cards, because I think that's one major problem with this format. As far as it looks like there's a lot of variety, but when a lot of your variety is basically just made up of three cards, you can't really consider that to be a lot of variety, in my opinion.